In this video, we are going to learn how to pass arguments by reference. In PHP, arguments are usually passed by value, which means that a copy of the value is used in the function. As we saw in the previous video, we made the copy of the variable num, and the variable that was passed into the function cannot be changed. Means the changes made to one variable does not affect the other variable. When a function argument is passed by reference, changes to the argument also change the variable that was passed in. To turn a function argument into a reference, the ampersand operator is used. So in this case, we will be using this ampersand operator. So let's see the example. Okay, so the code looks completely same like we saw in the previous video. Just there is one difference. Here we have made use of this ampersand operator. Rest everything remains the same. So before the variable name, we have to put this ampersand operator. This indicates that we are passing this argument by reference. But before jumping here, let's first understand these statements. We have a variable which has a value 5. Now I want this variable to be used inside this function. So I can pass this okay into this function. So here I am calling this function and passing the variable inside this function. So as soon as it encounters this statement, okay, we are calling the function, so it will go to its function definition. So it will go here. So here we are taking this value 5 inside the another variable. That means we are making a copy of this variable. So here both the variables are holding the same value, and now I am just incrementing this variable value. So here when I increment this variable value, even $num will be incremented by 1. Means if I make any changes to this variable, the same changes will be reflected in this variable as well. So this is the only difference between passing arguments by value and passing arguments by reference. In case of passing arguments by value, when we incremented this value by 5, it did not affect this variable. Means this variable was still holding the value 5, but here now I am incrementing this variable by 1, so now it will hold the value 6. So in this case, even num will be incremented by 1 because changes made to this variable will affect this variable as well. So when I just print out $num, I will see 6 onto the screen. So let's see in an IDE, PHP tags, we have a function display. For now, I will just keep it as simple as possible. Okay. So now let's write $num is holding value 5. And now we will just call this function and pass this information inside this function. And let's echo $num. So now when the execution will jump here, I have to take this information in a variable, right? So that I can use it inside my function. So basically the parameters should match while in the definition, and while calling the number of parameters should match. So here I have one parameter, so I have to write another variable. So in this case, first I will put an ampersand because we are passing by reference argument. We are passing arguments by reference, and then we have a value. And now I will just increment its value, let's say by 10, by 5, sorry. Let's increment it by 5. Now the dollar value is holding a value 10. It is holding a value 10. So now even $num will hold the value 10 because any changes made to this variable will be reflected in this variable as well. So when we run this program, we will be able to see 10 on the screen. Let's see. So I'll just reload this page, and as you can see, 10 has been printed onto the screen. So this is the only difference between passing arguments by value and passing arguments by reference. There is only one syntactical difference. We have to put an ampersand, which indicates we are passing arguments by reference. And in this case, any changes made to this variable will be reflected inside this variable. Even we can have more than one argument. We can have multiple arguments. Simply we can separate it by comma. Let's say if I write here dollar second, let's say if I write dollar second, a second variable, and let's give it a value called 10. Okay. So here the parameters should match, because in this case I'm passing two parameters, two arguments, but here I'm taking only one argument. So the number of parameters is not matching. So I can pass it. But here there are two arguments which I'm passing, and here I'm taking only one argument. So this one will not be accessible inside this function. So if I want this to be accessible, I can simply use ampersand and dollar. I can name it as second only. Keep the name similar. Okay, and I'll just include dollar in equal to dollar just. So now changes made to this variable will be reflected here as well. Okay, I forgot to echo out dollar second in this case. So now we will get to see 10 and 20 onto the screen. So I'll just take the line. Okay. So as we can see, 10 and 20 has been printed onto the screen. So the variable names can be same or they can be different. Just to avoid confusion, many people go for another variable. That's all. So we can have as many arguments as we can, just we have to separate it by comma. So this was all about passing arguments by reference, and in the next video we will be learning about return statement. Thank you.